Hey, how's it going? So, uh, as a forewarning for this video, I have two topics that I really want to try to cover. One of which is to do with chemical poisoning, and the other intelligent design, or at least the idea behind. Uh, so, two completely unrelated topics, though. Um, but as kind of just a way to cover the past couple of days, because I don't try to make videos on the weekends, or at least when Lily's home. So to kind of start with the first one, the whole chemical poisoning thing. I'm not going to be naming any names for certain reasons, but a certain company that somebody I happen to know works at sometime recently had an issue where the employees of a specific place were exposed to relatively dangerous chemicals, and nothing was really seemed to be done about it. Granted, I'm just relaying what I have been informed of. What I kind of heard through the grapevine, whatnot. But yeah. So I'm kind of trying to keep this as brief as possible. But essentially, there was no proper PPE, protective gear or anything like that to mitigate exposure. It didn't really seem like the management themselves cared, really. From what it sounded like, is the management was essentially telling the employees and whatnot that you can go home if you don't feel safe, but we really need people to finish this work. So if you can stay, cool, and just don't say that we're the ones that told you to stay or whatever. So that happened, um, and I had to help one of those people who was exposed to try to get better quick. Um, yeah, so that was an interesting couple of days. Moving on from then, actually, I suppose I have three topics to talk about today, but I'm going to get into the other one last. Um, yeah, so I had an interesting conversation with Lily yesterday. Um, we were kind of talking and sort of joking about sort of things, and the idea of intelligent design was kind of brought up. Not like that, like by name specifically or anything like that, but it was in question to the anatomy of males and the blaring weakness males have. You know, uh, I'm sure most of you know, in most self defense classes, it's taught, you strike there first. The testicles, you know? And one of the biggest, like, defenses against, like, intelligent design or anything like that is that, why would the human body, or the human male body at least, have been made with such a blaring weakness? And I started thinking about it, and me and Lily started talking about it, and how many other species in the world, for example, know that humankind, human men, that is a blaring weakness? How many animals would strike there first, as opposed to, say, going for the throat or something? I don't think they do. My thinking is that that weakness isn't there for the exploitation of other species. It's there for the exploitation of not really exploitation, but it's there for the self defense or whatever controlling aspect of the females of the race, and that can be said for any species. This might get a little controversial if I haven't already. So sorry. I'm just kind of spouting what's in my head as of yesterday because we had an interesting talk about it. Um, and it's an interesting thought that, let's say, hypothetically, you know, mankind was made by some form of intelligent design, or at least evolved, to be as such, I guess. Why would that be something that is a constant through most male species around the world? And the theory was that it's there for the women of that species, the females of that species, because if you think about it, one of the number one self defense things in human culture is that, you attack the groin. For men, obviously. Like, if you're dealing with, like, a male aggressor or whatever, you strike the groin because it's weak. And it's very obviously. So, I started thinking about it. And there's other species that, use that as essentially like a way to deal with, or in some animal cultures, control the men. And I started thinking about like lions. Female lions, when they're in heat, if the male partner doesn't want to do anything, to procreate the species, and the female lion does, she will literally grab him, like bite him by the testicles, and essentially just demand it. And it's an odd thought, you know? I don't know. It was one of those, like, kind of sudden, like, thoughts in my head that I don't really know what to do with. So I'm kind of just giving it to the internet, essentially, to do with whatever you please. You can tell me how wrong you think I am. If you agree with me, whatever. I have no real opinion on the subject. I'm just stating how it is I was thinking at the moment. And yeah, I don't know. I might think a little more into this and, try to see if there's anything else that I can kind of come up with. But the idea of intelligent design has always kind of confused me a little bit. So, I don't know. It was just one of those things that, like, I didn't necessarily agree with until I kind of started thinking about that. And I was like, yeah, that could make a little more sense. Now that I think about it, I can see how the idea of intelligent design could be feasible. But if you think about it, I guess we could have all eventually evolved in a way to incorporate a weakness that only the same species would know how to exploit. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it's a theory. I suppose the last thing I kind of want to talk about, going from that probably extremely controversial topic, is me and Lily are actually, as of this Thursday, going to be celebrating our 4-year anniversary. So, yeah. Technically, we celebrated it yesterday. Essentially, just the weekend. This last weekend. And we didn't really do a whole lot. I feel bad because there was something that she really wanted to do, but we didn't really get the opportunity because we looked at the bank account, and unfortunately, it's not as padded as we thought it was for what we were hoping. But we still got to, go out and have, dinner at Olive Garden. We got to wander around the mall a little bit and just kind of hang out. And yeah, we got a couple of like little things out of it. Um, but essentially, we went to the Westfield Mall here in Los Angeles. I'm not sure what like city it's technically a part of. I think it's Culver City or something like that. I have no idea. Um, Regardless, though, we went to the mall. They have an Olive Garden in there. We go to frequently, or well, less frequently now, but you know, um, yeah, we used to go there quite frequently, and yeah, we just had had dinner there, um, hung out, started joking with each other, just enjoying each other's time, and yeah, so she had an idea to try to go out to one of the stores in the mall, and she wanted to basically like make a price for how much we can spend, and then we kind of just separate and then come back with a gift for each other. It didn't work out the way we were hoping because when we eventually came back to each other, we had ideas for stuff, but we didn't really know what we wanted to get each other. Um, and then we looked at the bank account and realized we don't really have a whole lot of money to be doing this anyway. So what we did do was we got some very, very small things, not like trinket or anything like that. We got wax melter um, because we have cats and they smell sometimes, or at least they leave a stench in the air. Um, and we got like little cloth cubby boxes, drawers. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like you have like these little square cubby holes, and then you have like cloth drawers that you can buy separately. We bought two little cloth drawers, so Lily can try to organize some of her stuff a little better, so she doesn't feel so cluttered in the house. Because we have a very small apartment and a lot of shit in it. So yeah. Um, but yeah, that being said, like we still ended up having a little bit of fun. She was having a bit of a panic attack, unfortunately, because money's not what it used to be. Um, and I tried to help, calm her down and everything. We got home. She ended up, hopping in the shower. Um, and yeah, we ended up talking a little after that. And yeah, we were just joking and just kind of having fun, just kind of making fun of each other and just being just fun assholes to each other. And yeah, like weirdly enough, that's kind of like where the whole like intelligent design thing kind of came from. Um, because I don't know, I don't really know how the conversation started. She said something, I said something, I don't know what happened, but eventually it came to a point where uh, it was mentioned, something about like how blaring of a weakness it is, and then we started going into a conversation about that. And I literally told her, I was like, yeah, hold on. I need you to hold this idea for a second because I gotta go run out to the living room and I gotta grab a pad and pen to like actually write this down so I don't forget it for a video. Um, I could probably go into a little bit more about it, but I don't know that I should. Because I have no place to be talking about it. Again, I was just kind of voicing my own opinion on it. So, yeah, I don't really have much of a place to say anything. So, yeah. Um, but I suppose that after that, we're planning on doing something date night wise. We still have like gift cards to Texas de Brazil that we're kind of hanging on to until I can find a specific date that works for us. Um, but I have to make the reservations like a week in advance, unfortunately. Um, I could try to make them the day of, but it's really difficult to say whether or not they're actually going to have seating. Um, and from what it sounds like, is it's a relatively swanky place. Like suit and tie kind of place. Um, so I have to see if we even have outfits that will work for that. I mean, I know she does because I just fixed up one of the outfits that I bought for her forever ago. It's this like really nice red dress with like this like a little kind of bedazzled like gem belt ish thing. Um, but I fixed it because the fucking thing melted when we went to dry it. So it's not dry dryer friendly. I don't know what the hell I was trying to say. Anyway, yeah, so we're planning on trying to find something to do for the next date night, because we can't celebrate our anniversary on the day of, because she has work and I have a meeting. We're trying to figure out when we can. Just trying to figure out a day that works, a place, and go from there. She still wants to do that whole, uh, you know, set a price, go off an adventure, and come back with a gift for each other kind of thing. But yeah, we're not sure when we're gonna be able to do something like that. So maybe next paycheck, maybe a little while after. We're not sure, but it's still a fun idea, and I think it's not a bad thing. Um, we were looking for, like, weirdly enough, when we actually picked out gifts for each other, because we were at Target. Everything in the mall had already closed by the time we got done eating, which is super weird. In my opinion, I swear to God that the mall closed at 10. Apparently, they closed at 8. Um, and yeah, we ended up going up to the Target, which closes a lot later, but still part of the mall. And the gifts that we tried to pick out for each other, don't get me wrong, they were still stuff we needed, because her like criteria for gifts was it has to be something that we will use regularly. And the thing that she picked for me, which I actually liked the idea of, is like a tall floor lamp. Because in the main living room of the house, like, hold on, let me show you. We don't have a ceiling light of any kind. The only light that we have is this shitty little lamp that's up there. Ignore the screen that I'm screwing with. But yeah, like, I just have this shitty little lamp. After that, the living room is pretty much the darkest fucking room in the house, almost always. If we could just have one light in here that could actually, bring in a decent amount of, like, you know, light, I think, filming in general would probably be a lot better. I wouldn't have to worry too much about, like, if ever I have a Zoom meeting for any reason, the lack of light. Or instead, instead of, using my fucking ring light to illuminate myself, I can just turn on the fucking floor light, or the floor lamp. But that's something that we'll have to do later. And the thing I was going to get for her is, as I was talking about, the cubbies. Like the little square cubbies that you put those cloth drawers in. Because we already have one that's like a 4x4 that she has stuffed to the brim. Like, it is practically bursting out the cubby holes. There's so much crap in there. So we wanted to buy her a 2x8. And like, just for kind of clarification, when I say like 2x8, I'm talking about like the amount of cubby holes. So it's like, 2 cubby holes in the bottom, and it's like 8 tall. And yeah, we were talking about just getting that because that would definitely help her kind of declutter things a lot more. Granted, that would mean that we have a lot more furniture in an extremely small house, but it's whatever, you know? If we can help declutter things and it makes her happy, it makes me happy. Her love language is gifts. I guess I found recently that mine is words of affirmation, which I'm okay with. I understand, I like, people telling me I'm doing a good job at something. I mean, hell, even if I'm doing shit, just the positive affirmation is more than enough for me to keep going. So, yeah. Um, I'd say with that being said, I know that I've gone over my time by a few minutes, but it's whatever. Um, with all that being said, I know I went on like several different tangents, and I'm sorry again, but hey, whatever. Um, yeah, I appreciate you watching, and like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Peace.